Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Today I always go I don't know why. It's just a thing that happens. Um, as with the last video I did that came up the end of last week, in regards to people giving excuses to why they're there for coaching and what they um, and kind of putting it off on another person for them being there and not wanting to take the opportunity. I wanted to touch kind of more on the other side of things, um, because there is a core thing that runs through both coaching and a lot of the things that happen with clients, um, whereby it runs into bigger questions. Um, and that is a lot of people, you'll, as a coach, you want to help people. There were so many people when I was doing my courses, my qualifications. Um, they were um, they were being told that you have to make sure that you charge for your time, because that's a you can't give people your time, put effort into them, and so on and so forth, if you yourself can't sustain yourself, if you can't live. Um, and so a lot of people come out just saying, well, I have trouble asking for help, or feel selfish for taking other people's time and money. And I guess this kind of runs into a bigger question a little further on about the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, and how that plays into this. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, Ultimately, the one thing that was said to me that kind of stuck with me was, if I don't look after myself, if I'm not strong, capable, uh, reasonably well resourced, and so on and so forth, then how can anyone ever depend on me for anything? How will I be there for other people when they need my help if I can't support myself and deal with my own problems, as they come regardless? And part of coming to see a coach, or part of coming to deal with things, is putting a strategy, putting goals and ideas together to actually achieve things to make sure that you're all right. Um, I'll admit, I hate asking for people. Asking for people's time, asking for their help. I'm when my girlfriend hates it because she likes being generous when she can be, and I'm one of these people that hates receiving gifts. I tokens of gratitude really bug me when I don't feel I've deserved them. If it's a birthday, then if someone really wants to get me something, then fine, get me something that I can use practically. But otherwise, I'd much prefer just to be able to spend some time with that person, because that's far more valuable to me than any box with a gift in it. Um, if I've not achieved targets, um, if I've not succeeded at things, and then someone comes to me and tries to give me a bonus, or comes to give me um, a gift of gratitude to one extent or another, then I'm sat there kind of not sure what to do and not feeling that I deserve it. So I can completely understand when people come to me and say, well, I don't want to take up other people's time. I don't want to be a fuss. I don't want them to expend on me in any way. And I feel really selfish. And it's like, but there's a slight difference between asking someone for their time, asking people to support you in one way or another, and getting something for nothing. And a lot of this is something, since I started up working for myself by myself, something that I've had to learn as well, whereby looking to people for advice, looking to people for support, um, actually asking people for money when I've done the work. It's a thing that you need to change your perceptions on to do effectively. Um, and I can think back to when I was at work even, and I would end up doing an awful lot of work at times, doing um, very substantial periods where I was the only one that didn't get sick. I don't sleep particularly well anyway, so working early in the morning into late at night was not an issue for me. Um, and I had been doing shift work since I left school pretty much anyway, so I was. It's not like I had any kind of sleeping pattern to speak of. Um, but as a result, though, it became a case of, in my mind at the time, um, because I was the most robust person there, who was not sick, didn't need sleep, didn't eat an awful lot, didn't take much in the way of break time, um, and who just got on and did the job in a lot of instances, then did that mean that because I was capable of being there, and I was the few and the rest of my team or the rest of the staff, the rest of the company were the many, did that mean that I had to and should always do the job? Um, at the time, yes, every time I was asked to work, I believe there was only one exception that really stood out to me, that really stands out to me, that I kicked up a fuss about it. But every other time, I mean, even during Christmas, at one point when we had snow a few years back, I had been going in and doing the early shifts, taking in deliveries and things like that, and I had to dig out the front of the store that I was working in on several times, bringing my own shovel, walking the 3-4 miles in, and digging it out. And it was it's probably not 3 or 4 miles, but still. Um, the I had to do that, and then I had a family get together um, on one day, and yet I had closed the store the evening before, came in the following morning and opened it up with barely enough time between shifts to make it legal. I um, ran through the rest of the morning, left, went off and saw my family, came home quite late, and then got up early again the next morning to do the open again. And now that I think about it, that was a situation that many people are in right now, considering how the economy is, how jobs are. Lots of people are being overworked and, to a degree, underpaid. But this is where, again, changing the mindset and making sure that you value your own time, because if you don't value your own time, no one else will. And so here now, one of the reasons that I'm doing these videos is because coaching is a difficult and expensive thing for people to gain access to. I mean, the coaching that I had when I was a kid leaving college, I never would have been able to afford if I hadn't had the support of my parents and had the beginnings of full-time work to work that out with. And so it's a case of, here I want to create a space, a community, a discussion around various topics, because these are topics and these are bits of information and these are perspectives that may not be apparent to people elsewhere. And I realised that there's, as a result, I'm having to take my time out to make these videos, but the at the moment, I'm still doing a lot of other things, and this is my supplement. This is the thing that I want to leave behind so that people have access to this information. This is me doing more of the helping to make myself feel better about asking for money when I'm doing like direct coaching with an individual, with a company, or something like this. And I know that that's daft because I'm doing the work for them. Thank you, phone. I'm doing the work for them, and so I should quite happily be getting paid for it. But as with this, when people come into a coaching session and you ask, okay, so who is it that you might have around you that could help you with this? What resources do you have? Is there someone that you could ask for advice? Are there people that could support you during this time? And the response is, well, I have trouble asking for help, or I feel selfish about taking up their time, or I feel really bad for asking them for money because I know they don't have very much, and I know that it would be a substantial difference to them. It's a case of finding ways to cope with that, you know, and there are always other ways of doing things. Like, I hope that I provide enough value with these videos that you guys can have the discussions in the comment sections, that you guys can engage with me, that hopefully in the future I can come out and meet some of you if possible. But presently, I'm doing my thing, you're doing yours, and the best way that I can put things across to you without any expense to anyone is through this camera. And moving away from me for a second and moving back to the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, if you're one of those small number of individuals who have a lot of weight on your shoulders, be it through work, family, whatever, then I've only got one thing to say to you, and that is be more selfish. Because I didn't, and I suffered for it. And it took me realizing a lot of things along the way to get to a point where being selfish is okay to a degree. Be selfish to look after yourself, because if you're the few that the many are relying on, if you collapse, then they are lost, and they will have very little to rely on after you have crumbled. So whilst the needs of the many on a lot of occasions will completely override the needs of the few, if you are an individual who has a lot of responsibility and it's falling on you to maintain those other people, be selfish, take care of yourself, ensure that you get what you need, because if you're doing it out of caring for those other people, or caring for the business, or the paycheck even that you're getting from that business at the end of each month, then if you don't have what you need and you just cease to function, then that company collapses. Those other people who are seeking the same paycheck as you are will have issues. If it's a more of a family or a social thing, then those people may very well be lost, not have anyone to rely on, may go down the drain themselves. Be selfish to look after yourself, because if you don't do that, then everything else may very well come crashing down around you. And I realise that potentially puts you in the situation of thinking that you're the centre of everything and no one is the centre of everything, but you still need to make sure that you and your world and everything that you are working towards is maintained. And if you don't do that, then it's not only you that will suffer in a lot of ways. But anyway, that got miserable fast, and so I'm going to end it there. Um, if any of this was interesting or resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, then drop me a like and subscribe for more. And again, if what are your thoughts on this? Do the needs of the many always outweigh the needs of the few? Do you have to be selfish in life to take care of yourself, um, just to make sure that you're around for those people that do need you? Have you ever been in a situation where you needed to ask for help and found it hard or found it easy? Give me your perspective on this, and leave a comment and start the discussion down in the comments below. Anyway, have a good one, guys.